The story of Don Decker is fascinating. This lays out how it unfolded and features exclusive interviews with family members and friends, as well as police that were on hand for the entire ordeal. Are you prepared for a shocking twist at the end? During the month of February in 1983, Don Decker was possessed by a demonic entity that allowed him to levitate, cause it to rain inside, and bleed from inexplicable scratches that sprouted suddenly on his body. This event occurred over the course of many days. Does it sound too incredible to be real? According to a researcher from New Zealand named Robert Bartholomew, inhabitants of Stroudsburg need to be wary of the case that garnered the town its famous for the paranormal. His investigation, which was published in the most current edition of Skeptic magazine, was conducted to solve the mystery surrounding Stroudsburg's Rain Boy. The witnesses felt that the devil possessed Decker, and they even detailed the events of the case on two major television shows. The first was Unsolved Mysteries, which aired in 1993, and the second was Paranormal Witness, which debuted on Sci-Fi Channel in November of 2011. Why did no one photograph or document these occurrences, despite the fact that cameras and tapes were readily available? It is incomprehensible that if these occurrences were as spectacular as they claim to have been, no one took photographs of them. It was the 26th of February in 1983. Decker's grandpa had just passed away. He was now doing time for receiving stolen goods when he was granted compassionate leave from the Monroe County Correctional Facility to be with his family at this difficult time. Decker resided at the house on Ann Street that was leased out by family friends Bob and Jeannie Kiefer for the duration of his leave. The house has been razed to the ground since it was built. Decker was in the upstairs bathroom, cleaning up for dinner when he dropped to the floor and stated he had a vision of an elderly guy wearing a crown in a window. On the spur of the moment, deep scratches developed on his wrist. When Decker sat down to dinner with the Kiefers, he related the story of what had happened. After some time had passed, the family became aware of a loud noise coming from above and saw water dropping from the ceiling and the walls. Kiefer contacted Ron Van Wy, who was Kiefer's landlord, and the two of them went to investigate. According to what Kiefer revealed in his interview for the 2011 episode of Paranormal Witness, the two people assumed it might be a leaking pipe, but the only pipes in the home were placed on the other side of the house. Because the guys also saw that Decker was in a trance, they contacted the authorities in the area. According to the reports, Officer John Bodgen and Officer Richard Walbert reportedly reacted to the incident after it occurred. In an interview that Bodgen gave to the show Paranormal Witness, he said that he too thought Decker to be possessed and decided to summon the chief of police at the time, Gary Roberts, to the residence. Roberts was not persuaded that anything out of the ordinary was taken on. Therefore, he ordered his officers to depart and not write a report. In defiance of Roberts' desires, law enforcement officials William Davies and John Rundle paid a visit to the Kiefer residence the next day. When Davies and Rundle were in the house, they claimed to have seen Decker burn himself on a gold cross, get picked up, and flung across the room by an unknown force, and soon after that, 3 claw marks appeared on Decker's neck. The rain started on Friday and didn't stop until late Sunday night. The next day, when the rain ceased at the residence on Ann Street, Decker was carried back to the Monroe County Correctional Facility, where it is said that the rain followed him there as well. The guards who were on duty at the correctional facility said that the water seemed to go against the laws of gravity as it climbed up the cell walls and then shot sideways into the air. After an incident in which a drop of water is said to have flown across the room and struck the then-shift supervisor Dave Keenhold in the chest, Keenhold became persuaded that something paranormal was taking place. Other cops on duty that night said that they had challenged Decker to make it rain on the ship supervisor. Keenhold, certain that a malevolent power was at work, requested that William Blackburn, the prison priest, carry out an exorcism. Following the completion of the rite, the occurrences were never repeated. According to what Bartholomew says in his paper, all that is left for us to go on are the testimonies of eager spectators who have a perspective on the world that acknowledges the devil's existence. He thinks that stress, and perhaps the weather, may have had a part in the strange occurrences that took place. even under the most favorable of circumstances. Human perception is frequently inaccurate. The author Bartholomew believes that stress may distort one's views, and it is impossible to imagine many circumstances that could be more stressful than feeling that you are in the company of a guy who is possessed by demonic spirits. Decker was going through a difficult moment in his life when the events transpired. He was spending time in prison and had just lost a close relative. Even if so-called trance states may be brought on by stress and do not always indicate mental disease or problem, it is nevertheless possible to fake them. According to the story, it is interesting that Decker did not get medical assistance. Instead, efforts were undertaken to exorcise him. According to research compiled by the Manufactured Housing Research Alliance, the state of Pennsylvania has a moderate to the high probability of experiencing moisture-related issues over the winter, with ice damming being one of the most dangerous potential outcomes. Warm air entering an attic melts snow accumulated on the outside surface of a roof, which leads to a buildup of ice beneath, which pools of water develop and leak. This is what causes this problem. Don was taken into custody and accused of starting a fire in the year 2012. Some others believe that the latest arrest makes him look less believable, even though the incident had nothing to do with the events that took place in 1983. According to the findings of one investigator, the event that occurred in the home may have been caused by ice damming on the attic and roof. He thinks that it may have found its way inside the home, which would explain the bizarre occurrences. Others are adamant that an unknown supernatural entity was behind the event, even though many others are positive that the occurrence was a hoax. The mere existence of unsolved mysteries is truly riveting, and there are countless tales of murderers, kidnappings, serial killers, and mysterious disappearances that have remained unresolved for decades. For some people, these stories are captivating, while others find them narratively boring. We all have our preferences on which mysteries we enjoy the most. However, each tale is captivating due to its mysterious nature, and we should be thankful for the stories that capture our attention. If you are also a big fan of the mystery genre, don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, Case Closed, to ensure you stay updated on some of the hottest mysteries. See you in the next video. Until then, we bid adieu.